At least 7 historically black colleges and universities were forced into lockdown this week, canceling classes and ordering students to shelter in place after receiving what officials described as credible threats of violence. The warnings came just a day after conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot and killed at an event in Utah. Those lockdowns have since been lifted after the FBI determined the calls were, quote, hoax threats. But for hours, students and faculty lived under the fear of a potential attack. It's part of a troubling pattern. HBCUs being repeatedly targeted by threats in recent years, disrupting education and sowing fear in communities already under pressure. Joining us now is the man in the bottom right of your screen. He is the president of the Southern University System, one of the campuses directly affected, Dennis Shields. President Shields, thank you very much for coming to the weekend. So tell us, how are students and faculty feeling in the wake of these threats? What's the mood on campus now?
I think everybody's happy that we've discovered that the threat is not ongoing, but it adds to the uncertainty, and it's a distraction from our basic mission, which is educating the next core of leaders and productive citizens in this country. And it's not new. I mean, we've been through other threats in the past. There were bomb threats not that long ago. But we're a tremendously resilient institution and tremendously resilient group. And so we'll show up every day and do our work.
President Shields, I want to throw up the map of the 7 schools targeted by the hoax threats. They include Alabama State University, Virginia State University, Hampton, Spelman College, Southern University, of course, and A&M College, Clark Atlanta University, and Bethune-Cookman, all historic HBCUs. And, you know, when you have the federal authorities calling these hoax threats, for me, and I wonder for you, whether or not the person was actually going to go and, you know, commit some act of violence on campus, the fear is the point. And I wonder how you are kind of taking in, and as I assume you guys are going back to school on Monday, how are you preparing the kids, the teachers, for just being in fear, being worried about something, even if that's the federal authorities are calling these hoax threats? They're still threats.
I'm troubled when it's called a hoax, because we obviously have evidence that shootings and violence has happened on campuses kind of continuously over the last couple of decades. So we have to take these threats seriously. I don't think it's just higher education. I think you see it K through 12. And it's very disorienting. We've had to make more investments in mental health counseling. We've had to harden our security around campus. We have to be ever vigilant in developing and reviewing our protocols and preparing in case something happens. But you still have to show up and be committed to your educational mission, and try to provide the kind of environment where people feel as safe as possible.
President Shields, I hear you mention a few different measures that you've taken to ensure that students feel more protected on campus. And you also mentioned that there have been a number of threats in the past, including in 2023 when a racist gunman entered a historically black college in Florida, was turned away, but then went on to shoot and kill 3 people at a nearby Dollar General store. So these threats are definitely more than just hoaxes. But when you're taking a step back, can you assure your students overall that they are safe when they're on campus?
What we can assure them is we'll make every effort possible to keep them safe. And that, I think, is the most important thing. Life's not fair. There are threats to your safety wherever you go in the world now. But what I want our students, our faculty, our staff, and I know all my colleagues across the HBCU world, every one of those other institutions you mentioned, I know those presidents. I know how committed they are to making their campuses and the environments around them as safe as possible. And so you just have to be ever vigilant and get the message out that you're being vigilant about their safety.
President Shields, we're out of time, but I can't have you here and not ask you about a story in the Washington Post on Wednesday. Education Department ends some aid aimed at minority college students. The Trump administration said Wednesday that it will withhold $350 million in grants to hundreds of colleges that serve large populations of minority students, calling the decades-old programs discriminatory. I'm just wondering, will your university system be impacted by this decision?
It's already been impacted. We've probably lost on our campus in Baton Rouge and in our system. I was just talking to the chancellor at our campus in New Orleans. They just lost a $750,000 two-year grant. We probably across the system lost over $100 million in grants. And this is it's disheartening because those grants provide not only good things for our campus, opportunities for our students and faculty, but most of them are directed at issues that directly impact our community. And so it's very disheartening to see that going on.
President Dennis Shields of the Southern University System, thank you so much, and good luck next week with the kids.